All right, guys, we're back here, and we're bringing back an oldie but a goodie. This is Chris and Sean's top 10. Well, this is what we're going to cheat because we're kind of rusty. We're only going to do a five. This is a top five best movies based on video games. Since we haven't done the top 10 in a while, and we're going to bring it back. We're going to do. Sean came up with a brilliant idea. We're going to start doing top 10 Tuesdays.
Yes.
So sometimes we might cheat. We might do five. Sometimes we might do 20. But
I think we know we can call this top five. We'll call it. We'll call it the half-ass top 10.
Yeah, this is a half-ass top 10. The top 10 Tuesdays, and this is movies based on video games. So me and Sean, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set the rules. I'm gonna call out one, and then I'm gonna let Sean call out his, and then we're gonna go back and forth. So we're gonna start with number 5. And I'm gonna cheat and let Sean go first.
No.
I'll go first.
I'll go first. Because I was told before that my list was gonna get trumped.
Yeah, it's gonna get totally trumped. Right. I'm about to Jeb Bush your ass.
Yeah. You go ahead. I want to hear this.
All right, so I'm gonna start off with number 5.
This is your worst one.
This is my worst one. Okay, all right. Out of all the Oscar-worthy classic video game movies. Number 5. This is the worst one on my list, and I still kind of like this movie. When I saw it at the theaters, it is 1994's Street Fighter, directed by Stephen E. DeSouza. I think I'm saying his name wrong, but he's the guy who also directed Beverly Hills Cop 3 and Judge Dredd.
What?
And, he directed Street Fighter, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia.
Raul Julia and Ming Na Wen, who is now currently on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So
she was Chun-Li?
She was Chun-Li. That movie, I felt like, it was the nostalgia of it because I was such a Street Fighter fan. It's like it gave you the Batman and Robin effect. Like, you didn't realize those movies sucked until you got perspective later. But when I kind of realized that this movie kind of sucked when it kind of messed up Blanca, and then when Raul Julia as M. Bison, when he brought out that 6-button Nintendo arcade stick thing, like he was playing a Super Nintendo game, I was like, I'm done. I was like, even as a kid, I was like, that was unnecessary.
I think that was one of his last movies before he died.
Yeah, that's the thing that sucked. He was a great actor. I mean, even from the few films that I've seen him in.
Addams Family was my favorite.
Addams Family, exactly, was my favorite. But he had a huge resume of great films, and when he died, it was something that people took really hard. Like they were sad to see him go, but he did it. But I mean, even though M. Bison was kind of campy and whatnot, he still did a good job, and everybody did a great job. I mean, you had Jean-Claude Van Damme overacting as usual.
My God.
Who wants to stay here? Who wants to go with me? And, you have to flex a little bit. Let me see if I can do my Jean-Claude Van Damme. Who wants to go with me? Like, how does he?
Yeah, there you go. See, he's actually got a bite. Was he pushing it up? What the fuck is he doing?
He was pushing it up like that. Yeah, I don't know what Jean-Claude Van Damme
was doing. The muscles from Brussels.
But he got laid from all that stretching.
Oh, dude, he got. Man, the Jean-Claude got some. He's like, look, I can do the splits. No, that sounds like Arnold.
Look at the splits.
Did you see the Van Damme Volvo truck commercial?
Yeah.
Another video for another day, guys. If you haven't seen it, look up Jean-Claude Van Damme doing the Volvo commercial. Holy shit!
Yeah. So that was my number 5 on my Trump list. Now, Sean, can you top that? What's your number 5?
All right, so I'm gonna go. Okay, this movie sucks. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this movie blows.
Come on,
it sucks more than a prison whore. That's how bad this shit is. All right, I'm going to go with Carl Urban and The Rock in Doom. That movie was goddamn terrible.
That movie had potential.
It could have, but it just sucked.
Then when they went into first-person mode, when The Rock died.
The Rock should have been the Doom Marine. Period.
Yeah, you didn't see that coming. I mean, come on. If that would have been The Rock of today, there would have been no way in the world he'd have been like, "Oh, I'm not dying at the end. I'm not turning into the bad guy."
No, that's what I'm saying. If they had flipped some stuff, changed the script a little, put Rock as the Doom Marine. Like, I wouldn't mind if they remade Doom as a modern movie with a, but hey, it's weird because we're doing a top 5, but you got to understand something, guys. this is such a small pool to pull out of.
Oh, there's like 20-something movies out there,
Ooh.
but I mean, but the pickings are so. That's why we condensed it to 5 because we were struggling.
He was telling me to do 10, and I'm like,
I can't do it. Not on a good face. Like it was against. Like he started convulsing, going into a breakout. I can't do it.
All right, so what's your number 4?
Yeah, that was a good 5. I gotta agree with you on that. I just remember real quick. I remember that scene on Doom when The Rock was like, "I'm not supposed to die." I was like, "Come on, you gotta get better with that acting, guy." All right. So so number 5 we have Doom, we have Street Fighter, and I got my number 4 is a movie that a lot of people liked, but I was just meh. Tomb Raider, starring Angelina Jolie, directed by Jan de Bont. Is that how you say his name? The guy who directed Speed 1.
Yeah, Jean de Bont, and he also did Twister.
Is it Jean de Bont or Jan de Bont?
Jean de Bont.
No, that rhymes. Jean de Bont.
Sean de Bont.
And he also directed The Minority Report. But it starred Angelina Jolie.
No. Are you serious? I thought The Minority Report, the movie.
I think it was Spielberg. Yeah. He was a part of it.
Oh, really?
He was there. He was a part of it. He wasn't the main director because it was Spielberg. You're right. He was there.
Chris just mind fucked me. I'm like,
well, you know what? I might have gotten that wrong. He might have, when he said Minority Report, I didn't think of this. It might have been one of the episodes of the TV show.
Oh, okay. All right. You just mind fucked me, Chris. I'm like,
yeah. What? That makes sense. I just realized that. You know what? Not the Minority Report.
Okay, all right. I was like,
all right. So Angelina Jolie, John Voight. I was not a big fan of Tomb Raider, the video game back then, but I love the Tomb Raider series now, and I cannot wait until the Oscar winner lady who just got cast as our
Alicia Vikander.
Yes. I cannot wait to see.
Oh,
her.
she is great in Ex Machina, man.
I would have picked Rey from Star Wars, but maybe it's a good idea that she's not getting overexposed. So this is good for Vikander.
I think that Disney probably would not have allowed that. I think they were like, whoa. Let's establish your character, Rey, before we start. Because they're going to identify you as Lara Croft Tomb Raider. We don't want that.
It worked for Harrison Ford. It didn't really hurt him. Lucasfilm was able to keep him as Solo and Indiana Jones, so it didn't hurt him.
True. So. But back then, I think
it's a different thing. We've seen it happen before. So this time, you're right. It might have been too much today. You're not Harrison Ford, So who knows? Yeah, you're probably right.
They try to set up trilogies now. They're like, you've got a contract for 8 movies. Like back then it was like kind of a case by case. Yeah. Your soul is mine, which I've got on my list.
So that was my number 4. So Sean, what do you got?
Actually, no shit. My number 4 was exactly the same as his. Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
That's right.
Great minds think alike. God damn it.
Great minds. But number 4, Tomb Raider, man. Anything? What are your thoughts on Tomb Raider? What did you?
Okay, so the first one, after you get over the fact of how hot she looks in that movie, when I heard that she was going to be Tomb Raider, because I'd seen her in things like Hackers and like Cyborg 2, and there was 1 or 2 other. There was there was some.
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah, she was in that, but also there was another one where she was like some. It was like a biographical movie where she was like this hot lady. It was an HBO movie, Gia or something like that.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I thought she was great in that. So when I heard and I saw her,
you didn't think she was great in that. You thought she was nude in that. Was Angelina Jolie good, or was she just naked?
Even back then, they had pictures of her on the internet, what she was going to look like as Lara Croft, and I was like, "That's spot on, man. That's spot on. That is as long as she can act." And she was like one of those few type where, she's very pretty, but damn, first and foremost, she's a very good actress. So yeah, the first one.
I don't think she was the problem of the movie. It was just the way the movie was directed or delivered. Overall,
it wasn't a great movie.
The story wasn't that great.
No. The second one was even worse.
Worse. I remember watching it, sitting in the theater, saying, "I didn't really like the first one that much. Why am I watching this?" I
went to go see Angelina Jolie.
I went to go see it. I was thinking, okay, is she good or is she just naked? But all right, let's go on to the next one. So my number three. I almost flipped the bird on that. All right, so this is something I would be shocked. Sean, I would be shocked if this is even anywhere on your list, because I think everybody forgot about this movie, fell asleep on this movie. But to me, I'm surprised I didn't make this my number one, and here it comes.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Spirit Within.
I saw that.
No, that's not on your list.
No, I thought about it. They animated the CGI movie. I thought about it.
Directed by I'm trying to say the name right. Hironobu Shakuguchi.
He just totally fucked that up.
Totally messed that name up. But he's not even a movie director. He's a video game director, and they got him to direct this film. And I mean, maybe that was a reason why the movie didn't do well. But honestly, I feel like the reason why that movie didn't do that well in the box office is because it was ahead of its time. I mean, everybody was used to playing video games even back then, and then seeing these cool cutscenes.
Right. And especially Final Fantasy.
For Final Fantasy, exactly. What they made that famous. And this whole movie was based on it was a cutscene that was drawn out for like an hour and 30 minutes. But the visuals, the lighting, the sound, I mean, everything. I mean, I know it was you wasn't going to look at it and people, you weren't going to be fooled to think these were real people. It was an animation and whatnot, and that's what it was supposed to be looked at. But I think for me, I think that movie blew people's minds, and they weren't ready for it.
It was good, but I'll tell you what my opinion is why it bombed.
What? Okay.
Who do you think was its core audience?
Final Fantasy.
Right. So
that movie was nothing like any Final Fantasy.
That's what I'm saying. Why would you write a Final Fantasy movie and it has nothing to do with the Final Fantasy games?
No swords came out, no giant monsters destroyed, no spells to cast.
It had the same name. It had the same name.
It was a futuristic. It was a sci-fi movie. It was a futuristic. What the problem that movie made on the Final Fantasy franchise is what's going on. Is the same to me. Is the same problem that's going on right now currently with Call of Duty. How it's going too far in the future, and it just hardcore Final Fantasy fans just. I think they were trying to appeal to a mass audience, and it just backfired.
Yeah, they just basically took the name Final Fantasy, put it on a completely different storyline. Yeah.
Because even though the mass audience is going to outnumber probably 1,000 to 1 the Final Fantasy hardcore Final Fantasy fans, I'm sure a lot of them still listened to those Final Fantasy fans. It was like, man, this nothing based on. It's not even based on the game correctly. No, that's why they probably listened. Yeah, it probably influenced the rest of the audience, and the rest of the audience was like, I don't want to. Maybe if the movie wasn't CG, they would have did better.
Maybe,
because if you make that movie real with real actors, total different feel with the same graphics and want to make the graphics look better.
It was a very expensive movie to make.
Oh man, I mean, could you imagine that movie if it was
now?
Real? Now you could definitely that CG would have been awesome, but they blew it. And like you said, don't call it Final Fantasy because that wasn't a Final Fantasy story. No. It wasn't. No. But oh well. All right. So what's your number 3?
So that was your number 3. Okay. All right, so that was your number 3. All right,
the best number 3 of all time. It's huge. It was huge.
It's huge. Okay, so this is a bit of a cheat. Maybe cheat's not the right word. It's a hybrid because this movie was based on a game that was promoting it, and it was going to come out around the same time in the movie, and so Nintendo used this as a launching platform. It had Fred Savage in it. What is it?
The Wizard?
Yes, The Wizard. It's a cheat, I know, but it was.
Yeah, it's not based on a video game.
The whole movie revolves around the video game. The entire movie. It was product placement.
Ooh. Oh, cheat. Okay, I'll allow it.
I was cheating.
I'll allow it since we're already live.
I'll allow it.
Since we're already online, I'll allow it. Give me your thoughts on the Wizard?
I was so excited to see this movie as a kid. I mean, because for those, again, me and Chris are the same age, so back then they were advertising Super Mario. It was going to be like the world premiere of Super Mario Brothers 3. Yeah, and at the time, this was massive. All over. It was like one of the first. I think the first time.
It was the first time we thought we got to look at Super Mario Bros. 3. I think it was on that.
But like
movie.
even McDonald's was selling these little spring-loaded toadstool toys that would boing and shoot up in the air. It was just widespread product placement everywhere. Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers.
That was during the time Nintendo couldn't do wrong. Yeah, they couldn't film if they wanted.
And then
they were the kings.
They showed the Power Glove also. I think it also introduced the Power Glove, which they showed that little.
No, the Power Glove was already out at that time, but they featured.
I think it just came out then.
Yeah, I had a Power Glove.
I had one of them bitches too. I think I might still have my Power Glove actually.
And I think if you watch the React channel on YouTube, they do
kids react to the Power Glove.
It doesn't even work. It doesn't like when they thought that the commercial was way better than the real gameplay.
Feel like, the power. Yeah, it's just like lighting. Like
you go in there, you're gonna. Yeah, doing all kinds of stuff, but then when you're playing,
it doesn't react. And you had that little L-shaped thing that would sit on top of your TV.
Yeah, you're doing like. That's all you're doing.
Yeah, I never actually used because I had a dial pad right here.
You look like RoboCop with that thing.
I actually the first one I ever had. I actually cut the cord off of it, and I made one. I don't remember what the hell I was. I put it on for Halloween. It was so stupid.
You cut the cord?
Because it was.
You know how much?
I didn't.
You know how much I think probably sell for right now?
I think I have another one that still works, or sort of. It works as well as it used to work. I'll put it that way. And I have the exercise mat, the one where you run on the track, stomp your feet back. I still have that in the other room. I've got my old Nintendo with like 30 games in. But anyway, getting off point. All right, guys.
At the peak of my Nintendo purchasing days, I think I had about 50 games at one time. I know that's not a lot to compare to some people out there, but that was a lot compared to others.
We need to do our top NES games.
Yes, we will. We will be doing that.
All right, so that's
soon.
mine, The Wizard. What's your number 2?
Okay, bring it down to number 2. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. So number 2 is the Resident Evil franchise. Let me just say the whole franchise. And Resident Evil is so I'm only gonna guess it. That's also your number 2.
That's my number 2. God damn it!
Great minds, man. Me and Sean have been doing this for so long together, man. We're already like we're inside of each other. And take that however you want. Resident Evil, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. He also directed another great movie that we're going to probably be bringing up later. And he also directed Aliens versus Predator, starring Mila Jovovich and Michelle Rodriguez, who was only in the first one and then was featured in the later, I think in the 5th one, I think.
He also directed my number 1.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I know we probably both have the same number 1.
I think so.
Let's let me get your thoughts.
All right, go ahead. Your number 2 is
Resident Evil. So
which one?
I like the thing. I like all of them. I just said the franchise pretty much. So I like the franchise. I think it's cheesy. There's no real good story.
Show,
But you appreciate what they did. Honestly, and in all reality, I mean, based on the budget to make each film and the money that they all gross, technically it is.
Like that.
Yeah, exactly. For an R-rated movie, it is technically the most successful video game movie franchise of all time. It is. It's going to take I mean, World of Warcraft and Assassin's Creed would have to bring out some huge numbers to come close to what each one of the, I mean, if you just take the budget versus payout, it's going to take a while. I mean, say what you want to say. It's not an Oscar-worthy movie. It's not the best well-acted movie. But
it's got Mila Jovovich in it.
It's got that Mila Jovovich, though. And the only reason why I think the last one that's about to come out didn't come out this year, I think she got pregnant or something like that. And
they also injured they almost killed one of their...
They almost killed one of their... A lot of bad luck on that. So I remember my favorite scene from the first one was the opening scene when everybody was dying and turning into zombies, and then the
laser grid.
Favorite scene when the dude
turned him into cubes.
And they brought it back, and oh my god, that was awesome when they brought it back in part 4 or 5. That was awesome. But what about you? Okay, so that's your number 2. Yeah. What did you like about or didn't like about the Resident Evil franchise?
Okay, so real quick, my background with Resident Evil was so if I had to pick my top 5 video games of all time, Resident Evil 1 on the PlayStation is in my top 5 list of all video games in history.
That game freaked me out.
Yeah, it is so frustratingly wonderful. Like, you have these boxes spread out throughout the game where you can only carry so much, and so you're forced to be like, do I want to take this with me, or do I want to put it in this box? And you have to get these ink ribbons to save your game, and you have to find the ink ribbon. So you're like, do I want to save the game now, or do I want to try to get a little further? It makes you make these live or die decisions consistently.
Even saving your game was something you had to do carefully. That was the beauty of the first game.
Them puzzles, though. Them puzzles were gangsters. So yeah, so I'll be me and Chris too, probably one of the few people you'll ever talk to that actually sat down like a bunch of sweaties and watched the Resident Evil movies, because whatever. It's fucking zombies and Mila Jovovich. Come on, man. Drops the mic.
Fun fact, the extras that were cast to play all of the zombies in the first, I don't know if they did it for every movie, but especially the very first one, all of them had dance backgrounds. They purposely hired people who played the zombies who had dancing backgrounds to it. So when they got shot and whatnot, they wanted to animate them how they wanted people who had experience in unique body movement.
You do the Jim Carrey fall.
Exactly. But I don't know why that sticks out in my head, but that was just a little fun fact. So okay, so I'm gonna let you have the number one, since it's obvious what I know.
We both have the same number one.
So go ahead and go for the number one.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and safely assume that we have the number one.
Real quick, let me just run down real fast. So from our list, we have number 5, Street Fighter, and you had
Doom.
Number 4, we both had Tomb Raider. Number 3, I had Final Fantasy.
The Wizard.
You had the Wizard. You cheated and had the Wizard.
I said I cheated.
We both have Resident Evil for our number 2, and for our number 1, Sean Malloy.
All right. So for my number 1, I was so excited to go see this movie, because this thing, when it came out, the video game was massively successful. I mean, like, probably besides like Street Fighter, probably the most money I ever spent on an arcade game in my life. Back when you guys, for those of you guys who don't know what arcade games were, but back before you had a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One, if you wanted state-of-the-art graphics, you needed to go to a building which had these big-ass standing games, which you had to pay every fucking time you wanted to play them. Little old game called Mortal Kombat. Man, I wasted so much fucking money on this game. And I remember when it came to, I had a Sega Genesis. And I think both me and Chris were Sega guys. I had a Sega Genesis. And that fucking uppercut. Yeah. That was like the one move everybody did.
Take out 75% of your health.
The slow motion. And you had like red blood on the Sega Genesis. So. And I believe this is also a Paul Anderson movie, Mortal Kombat. Yeah. Mortal Kombat! And it had that, the techno music, and I believe even the trailer, you hear the Mortal Kombat! It was such a big deal when it came out. And now I will say, I think it was PG-13 when it came out. I don't know if there's an R-rated director's cut of this.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
And so, of course, I don't know about you, Chris. I had to like memorize all the fatalities for every single character. That was when I had it at the house. If you could pull off a fatality on the arcade game, you were the shit. Because you had to memorize these. Like
everybody would be watching. He's like, he did one.
He's like, finish him, and you're like.
And now remember, guys, and this was back before the internet told you all the secrets.
Right, you had to read it in magazine.
Back then, you had to read it in magazine, but before they would even reveal it in magazines, you had to figure it out. Right. Some kids didn't even get that. They didn't reveal, the creators of the game sometimes didn't even reveal fatalities until you figured it out. Then they published it. It was crazy. So when a kid figured one out, and they were like, "How the hell did you?"
You ever seen that? You ever seen that video where everybody goes, "Oh," and they bump into each other? That's exactly how I felt. You see somebody do the fatality, and everybody goes, "Oh," and just bangs into each other.
Because somebody's friend from Kansas probably figured out. He called all of his friends, and they spread the word. The secret goes out, up, down, whatever. Yeah. And then you pulled it off. But when part 2 came out, and then part 3 came out, the fatalities and the brutalities, everything got better. But Mortal Kombat, and also I forgot to mention a little side note. Let me go back to my number 3 of Final Fantasy. It also starred the voice talent of Ming Na again, who was also Chun-Li from Street Fighter. She was also the voice of the main woman from the Final Fantasy movie with Alec Baldwin and James Wood. I forgot to mention that. But Mortal Kombat, let's see, Lindsay Ashley and Bridget Wilson. Bridget Wilson was also in another
Sonya,
and Sonya. She played Sonya. She was also in one of my favorite movies called spoiler alert. But
no, in real life he's dead now.
Oh, the actor.
Yeah, he was also in Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl.
Wow. That dude, I remember that scene with him and Bridget Wilson as Sonya. Come on, love, give us a break.
All right.
Breaks
he was
his neck.
Australian. Yeah, she died.
Yeah, Bridget Wilson, who plays Sonya, was also in that movie Love Stinks with Fritz Stewart. That's a comedy I love. But I love Bridget Wilson. I love her, man. But that movie was just, I don't know, man. It was cheesy. Yes, it wasn't that well written. Yes, it was campy. Yes,
did he do the split nut shot?
It was awesome. I don't know if he did it.
Yeah, I think that's Johnny Cage does, because remember Kano takes his Goro takes this and he crushes his
slips down and he goes up for the nuts and he's all like his forearms are like but it was so that fight between Johnny Cage and Scorpion.
Oh, the Scorpion.
That was the fight for me. He was like, "Get over here, welcome." But the problem, one of the problems of that movie was the fact they had Sub-Zero and Scorpion as mindless ninjas that were working together and stuff. But
they're bitter enemies now. Yeah, they're
bitter enemies. They were enemies then. But Shang Tsung said, but under his control, they're fierce. They're his warriors. But that movie was just awesome, man. All the problems for some reason made the movie more awesome.
Do you remember that first fatality in the movie where besides the whole "your soul is mine" and pulls that guy up, it was the Sub-Zero fatality where show the guy going like, huh, 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 and he's all ripped and shit, and then they show like Scorpion or Sub-Zero just doing this, just like sitting in the back corner of the room, and the guy's like showing off how muscly and badass he is, and they're like, "What?"
And then Sub-Zero, like freezes him, right?
Yeah, he just like the dude runs at him, he just goes. And just threw the shit, and he just shatters into 1,000 pieces. But it was almost like the equivalent of the Indiana Jones scene where the guy's like, and the dude just like pulls the gun out and shoots him on the
just shoot the bastard. But yeah, I mean that set the whole tone for the whole movie. You knew what you were going to be in for. Like, holy shit, they went there. They went there with this movie. So that was that to me
coming out looks real.
It does. It's still to this day. That weird animation.
Beak. What is?
And then anyway,
didn't it like splat on the tree or something? Like
like nowadays, you see that animation, you're like, okay, you can do better than that nowadays. But for then, at that time,
a long time ago,
that was great animation for when it came out. But that's it, guys. That's our top 5 movies based on video games. There was one that snuck in that shouldn't have been in there, but we're not going to bring that up again. Tron could have been another one that could have been a cheat.
It's a cheat.
But comment, guys. Let us know about your favorite movies and what you're based on video games. What do you think about the upcoming video game movies? You think that the video game movie franchise is saved? It's going to come back? Or is Assassin's Creed, which I think it's going to be the savior of it, or is it going to be World of Warcraft? What's going to bring these movies back that are based on video games? Comment down below. Let us know what you guys think. Hit the subscribe button. Share it, like with your friends. Don't forget about the contest. Every 100 subscribers.
We're working our way towards 300 again.
Yeah, we're working our way to 300. So we're going to be giving away movie tickets like crazy. Hopefully, we want to give them away every day. So but the only way you can do that is subscribe. So that's all I got to say about that. So Sean,
keep watching the movies, playing the games, and kill the noobs.
Kill the noobs. Oh, damn it! I was going to beat you to it this time. Later.